All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Wakakwadash. Yahweh is the true, holy, and powerful name of the Heavenly Father. Bahasham, meaning of the name. Yahweh Shai is the true, holy, and powerful name of His only begotten Son, who is the Savior of the nation of Israel. Starting off with the elect within the nation of Israel, and Israel consists of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, as well as you Israelite foreigners scattered abroad that may look like the nations where you've been scattered to, but are Israelites. And also want to give divine honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect pushing out this word in all sincerity and in truth. All right, this is the brother you call from the GMS branch out of Des Moines, Iowa, coming back at you with another lesson inspired by the Holy Spirit, Harakak Wadash. And this lesson is gonna be based off of this precept here, and I'm gonna go ahead and read it. This is Isaiah 34 and 8. It says, and then we're gonna read it in the NLT. It says, "For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion." All right, so the Lord is gonna recompense, all right, these nations, pay them back for what we've suffered. All right, for the things that we the captivity, all right, that we had to serve under these nations, man, all right, the mistreatment that we underwent, all right, and this is a part of the gospel, as it says in the book of Isaiah as well. Isaiah 35 and verse 3 says, "Strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, Be strong, fear not. Behold, your power will come with vengeance. Even Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, with a recompense, he will come and save you." All right, so this is a centerpiece of the gospel, all right, of the good news, is knowing that the Lord is going to come and pay back, all right, these nations for how they've treated us, man. As it is written, all right, he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of the Lord's eye. All right, so the Lord isn't overlooking these things that we've suffered, man. And I'm gonna read one more on that point. This is Isaiah chapter 61. In verse 1, "The Spirit of the Lord Yahweh power is upon me, because the Lord Yahweh hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek." So that's good news, right? It says, "He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, and to," it says, "to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, and the day of vengeance of our power, to comfort all that mourn." All right, so we're reading all these different precepts that talks about the Lord bringing in vengeance for his people, man. All right, and let me look up this word vengeance here in the etymon. It says, all right, it says, revenge, retribution. All right, it says to take revenge, avenge, punish, vindicate. All right, so let's look up this word vindicate. What does it say here? It says to avenge, revenge. All right, to stake a claim, to liberate, to act as an avenger, meaning to clear from censure or doubt by means of demonstration. Okay, then it also says act of avenging someone, or act of avenging revenge. All right, so I mean these definitions tie all together. All right, but this is what the Lord, our Lord, is going to do for us, man. Okay, because here it is, these nations, they don't care about what we're suffering. All right, there's all types of hypocrisy and mistreatment, even with this whole anti SEM. All right, that's being pushed around. All right, and that's nothing but a bunch of hypocrisy, man. All right, because they know who the real they know that we're a part of Shem, all right, descendants of Shem, right? And there's other nations that are a part of Shem, but here it is, anybody can identify as being a so-called small, or as being a small hat, right? Anybody can identify as that except for a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American. When they speak and say that they're a part of that, right? Then they're being demonized, okay? But the point being is that the Lord is seeing all of this hypocrisy. He's seeing all these lies, and he's seeing the atrocities that our people underwent. All right, and the Lord is coming back with a payback for all of those things, man. None of those things are going to go unpunished, especially when it comes down to these heathens. All right, the scriptures talk about how the Lord punishes us, but he deals with our enemies 1,000 times more. And then Book of Wisdom of Solomon talks about how he deals with us as sons, but he deals with our enemies as a severe king. So when the Lord returns, man, it's going to be all gas, no brakes, man. It says the day of vengeance, once again, speaking about that vengeance, right? It says the day of vengeance is in mine heart and the year of my redeemed is come. All right, so the Lord is meditating, all right, on that terror. He's meditating on that vengeance, okay, that payback. Even Yahushua called out those Roman centurions, all right, that pierced him. He said, even they that pierced me shall see him when he returns, man. So letting you know that the Lord was thinking about that. Those people that spat upon him, all right, those people that mistreated him, was talking shit. The Lord knew that he was going to eventually be allowed to have power over them and get them back. All right. So the Lord is going to come back with great wrath, man, upon our enemies, man. But let me keep reading on this in Isaiah 61. All right, that's all I wanted on that, man. All right, and this one more that I thought about through the Spirit in the book of Luke. And then we're going to go back to that in Isaiah 34 chapter, Lord's will. But this is Luke chapter 1 and verse 68. Blessed be the Lord Yahweh, power of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people, and hath raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David. So that's possessive pronoun, man. All right, the us that is speaking of is the nation of Israel, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. All right. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant. So the Lord is going to come back for all those that hate us, man. All right. Which is all of these nations, man. Okay, it goes through a whole list of them in the book of Psalms, the 83rd chapter, if I'm not mistaken. So this is what the Lord is coming back with. All right, that great wrath, that great vengeance. Right now, going to read this, going back to Isaiah 34, and I'm gonna read verse 8 again, and I'm gonna read it in the NLT. It says, "For it is the day of the Lord's revenge, the year when Edom will be paid back for all it did to Israel." Okay, so the nuclear destruction, as we're gonna read up in this chapter. All right. One of the main reasons the Lord is going to wipe America off of the face of the earth is because of what? The bloodshed of the Israelites here. All right. So this is going to be a payback. This is what we're looking for. The nuclear destruction, all right, is a payback, okay, for what we had to suffer. All right. And this is what we ought to be looking forward to, man. All right. As it is written, I was going to grab this later, but Spirit told me to get it right now. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 20 says, Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High hath avenged you on her. So, how is the Lord avenging us? Through that nuclear destruction, through taking down Babylon via nuclear fire. And I'm going to just read down. It says, And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down and shall be found no more. Now, when you look up that word violence, it says a violent motion. All right. So what's going to cause that violent motion? All right, this is it's the nuclear missiles, man. But I'm gonna grab a precept, Isaiah 2 in verse 19. It says, "And they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth for fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty, when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth." So the Lord is going to arise and shake terribly the earth. All right. And how is that going to happen? Via the nuclear destruction. Okay. The missiles get shot off, all those explosions, man, that's going to shake the earth, man. It talks about that even in the book of Jeremiah. It talks about how the earth really to and fro like a drunkard. And that's what the nuclear destruction is going to cause. But once again, this is a payback, all right, for what we had to suffer, man. This is back in Isaiah chapter 34. Well, as a matter of fact, we're going to read down further on that Revelation and then go back to Isaiah. All right, this is Revelation chapter 18 and verse 22. It says, And the voice of the harpers and the musicians and the pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman of, excuse me, and no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. All right, so it's going to be no people here, no work here, right? And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride, it says, and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And in her was found the blood of the prophets. It says, In her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. So America Babylon, all right, who is being led, all right, or ruled by Esau Edom, there's a lot of blood on their hands that they have to pay for. All right. And as it is written in the book of Numbers, this is the book of Numbers, chapter 35, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Numbers 35 and 33 says, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So the ones that are responsible for shedding all this blood, their blood has to be shed. All right. That's why the Lord is going to pour out a lot of death and destruction upon this place. All right. So that to bring in that justice, man, that recompense. Okay. The Lord wasn't going to ever allow these devils to shed this much blood without bringing in a recompense, man. That's why everybody on the soils of America, man, is going to be wiped off the earth. All right. That's why it says, it shall go ill with him that is left in this tabernacle, because if you are not of the elect of the nation of Israel, and you're on the soils of America, you will you are guaranteed destruction, man. Because no soul is going to be left here alive after the destruction. There won't be one individual, all right, that's going to be left here, okay, after the Lord destroys this place via nuclear missiles, man. All right, so let's go back to this in the book of Isaiah, the 34th chapter. Now we're going to start up, all right, Isaiah chapter 34, just to show that the recompense is speaking about the nuclear destruction. All right, this is Isaiah 34 and verse I'm gonna just start at the top. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people, let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all the things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter. Right. So the Lord's wrath is upon all these nations, man. All right, as it is written in the book of it talks about it, I believe, in the book of Zechariah. It says how the Lord was a little displeased. All right. Or Salakia says how the Lord is displeased at the heathen that are at ease. All right. And it says how the Lord was a little displeased at us. But what? These nations help forward the affliction. Okay. So they continue to mock us. They continue to afflict us. All right. When our captivity should have been up. All right. But once again, the Lord sees all of that, and the Lord has a perfect judgment, spiced well, all right, to recompense. All right, but it also talks about it in the book of I think it's First or Second Maccabees, man. All right, it says, "What nation hath not partaken of her spoils, man?" So all these nations had a hand in our downfall, all right, or benefiting off of us being in the captivity and not knowing who we are, and so on and so forth, man. But this is the book of Isaiah. Wow, Salaki, I'm gonna slow down. This is the book of Obadiah. All right, I want to say Isaiah and Obadiah at the same time. All right, this is the book of Obadiah, verse 15. It says, "For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head." So this is all that's happening, man. There's a recompense, a just judgment. Now, when we speak about these things, people say, "Oh, you guys are pushing hate and everything like that." But nobody was talking about the hate that was pushed upon the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American. Everybody was quiet during that time period. All right, when we were in hardcore bondage, and even now, nobody is bemoaning us, as it is written in the book of Jeremiah. Who shall bemoan thee, O Israel? But it's all good, man, because we only need one person to care about us. All right, and that's Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. All right, the creator of everything in the heavens and the earth, who's going to plead our cause, man, as it is written here in the book of Jeremiah. All right, Jeremiah chapter, and how does the Lord plead? All right, like it is written in the book of Isaiah 66 and 15, for the Lord will come with fire and his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. It says, by his fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh. Now that word plead is a mashapat, all right? Mashapat, which means judge, all right? So by fire and sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many, man. All right, so this is how the Lord is going to plead our cause, man. Nuclear destruction, okay? From fire, those that concentrated fire, those lasers coming out of those chariots, man, and the collapse of all of Esau's rulership, man, and setting us up on high. But this is the book of Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 34. Nebuchadnezzar, or Nebuchadrezzar, the king of Babylon, hath devoured me. He hath crushed me. He hath made me an empty vessel. And that's what happened, man. All right, we were crushed. Okay. Scriptures talk about in the book of Isaiah, man, how we were pretty much laid down in the streets. All right, for anybody to walk over, man. All right. This is the mistreatment that we underwent, specifically under this devil Esau Edom. It says, he hath made me an empty vessel. He hath swallowed me up like a dragon. He hath filled his belly with my delicates. He hath cast me out. The violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon. Right. So you're responsible, all right, for the slaughter of our people, man. Okay, and you have to pay with that. Pay for that. It says that which had. It says how the Lord required that which is past, man. So all those old sins in your youth, okay, as the scriptures talk about, I believe that's in the book of Job. He's filled with the sins of his youth. Well, you got to pay for all that. The Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. So we're approaching the time where you're going to reap for all the wickedness that you've sowed, man. All right, starting off with you small hats, okay, because you forwarded the most wickedness throughout the earth that the earth has ever seen, man. All right, the Lord has a special punishment, all right, coming for you. All right. It says that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation, man. All right. So how do you think it's going to be in the kingdom? You're going to be the very bottom. As it is written, man, that he that is first shall be last, and he that is last shall be first. All right. You're the head of the nations, right? All right. The scriptures said that what? That Amalek is the first of the nations, man. You go into that word, it's related to the Hebrew word Ra'ashim, all right, or Ra'ash, which means the head, all right, a ruler, right? Goes into those various different words. You can look it up in the blue letter, man. But showing you that what? That you're the head of those nations, man. But what? You're going to be brought to the bottom. Just like Jake was at the bottom, but your bottom is going to be way worse than our bottom ever was. All right, us being in the ghettos and looking at us on television and the lowest state that we're in, man, your bottom is going to be way worse. All right. But, anyways, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 35. The violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon, shall the inhabitant of Zion say, and my blood upon the inhabitants of Chaldea shall Jerusalem say. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will plead thy cause and take vengeance for thee. Right. So the Lord is going to stand up for us, man. It says, and I will dry up her sea and make her springs dry. How's the Lord going to do that, man? Drying up her sea, make her springs dry through that intense heat. All right. From the nuclear destruction, it says how the elements are going to melt with fervent heat, man. All right. So the Lord is going, hey, completely wipe this place off, man. All right. It ain't gonna be a river left. It ain't gonna be a puddle left, man. That intense heat is gonna evaporate all of that, man. But it says, verse 37, and Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, and astonishment, and a hissing without an inhabitant. All right, and that's all we're gonna grab on that. But the main point being is that our blood is on your hands, man. You're drunk with the blood of the saints, as we read in that book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, and it's written in like two other places in Revelation, man. Revelation, the 17th chapter. All right, how the woman, her cup was filled with the blood of the saints as well, man. Or she was drunk, Salaki. She was drunk with the blood of the saints. Speaking of America, all right. So hey, all that has to be paid for, man. Okay, you can talk all your trash throughout all your demonization terms out there, the anti-SEM, right? Do all of that. That's fine. All right. Just like the elder Ariella was going into it on the line, I believe it was this past weekend, man. Okay, pretty much the same thing is happening. Here it is during the time of Esther. You had Haman, all right, who was of Amalek, all right, a descendant of Amalek specifically, all right, of the Edomites, right, the top tribe. All right, he was pushing a narrative upon the Israelites that we were unruly, all right, that we all needed to be put to death and so on and so forth, right? He was pushing this campaign against us, man. All right, like a media campaign, the same thing that's happening now in modern day terms, man. All right, if you say that you're an Israelite, you're being demonized. They're calling you that you got hate speech and so on and so forth and things of that nature. But what that whole council That whole demonization, all right, that ended up falling upon his own head, man. And the things that he thought to do unto us, all right, what? It happened unto him, all right? And all that counsel, what? All it did was work in our favor, man. Okay? The Lord flipped the script on him, man. And it's going to be the same thing in this time period, man. All this demonization is going to work for the benefit of the sealing of the elect, all right, and to invoke our power to stand up and make something happen for us, man. All right, to intervene on a grand scale. All right, but it says that's it in that in Jeremiah. All right, let me grab this in the book of going back to Isaiah the 34th chapter. All right, this is back in Isaiah chapter 34. And verse 2, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Right, as it is written, since thou hast not hated blood, blood shall pursue thee. I believe that's Ezekiel the 36th chapter, or somewhere around there, man. Maybe 35. All right. So you didn't hate blood. You didn't care about shedding our blood, feeding our children to alligators, and poisoning our children today with these different uh, um, juices. All right, got to speak in code with it, right? For the poisonous food that you give us, man. Right, all that madness, man. Right. Well, the Lord is gonna recompense you for all of that, man. But it says, verse 4, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, right? So this is a vision. He's seeing a mushroom cloud, okay? He's seeing nuclear destruction wiping off this place, or wiping this place off of the earth, man. Okay? It says, it says, the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the falling leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. And this is the same way that John described it in the book of Revelation, the 6th chapter, man. All right. Talked about how they they fell like the falling of a fig tree. All right, when you look at how a fig tree or figs grow, all right, they grow up at an angle, all right, and then when they're ripe, what happens, man? They hoop down, man. All right, or I forget the word for it, but they loop. Okay, they loop down and then drop. All right, well, that's that looping, arcing motion of those missiles, man. And this is the same way, once again, that John described it. Right? It says, verse 5, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea. All right, and this, hey, the Lord's sword is talking about the nuclear missiles, man. It even says in the book of Ezekiel, and the scriptures talk about how an arrow is going to be shot from one end of the earth into the other in the book of Second Ezra, the 16th chapter. Or what type of arrow does that? What type of ancient arrow can be shot from one end of the earth into another? None. All right, because they were using the terminology that they had at that time to describe the visions, the visions of future prophecy that the Lord was showing them, man. All right, that's why he said he saw the heavens rolled together as a scroll. What does a scroll look like, man? It looks like the best way to describe a mushroom cloud in those times, man. All right, this is Salakia. What was I looking for? Ezekiel. Just bear with me, because it talks about the Lord brandishing his soul. All right, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 32, and verse 7. And when I shall put thee out, I will cover the heaven and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. Right. And what is going to be the cause of that? All right. What happens when a nuclear missile goes off, man? All right. Even the atomic missiles, man. When those missiles go off, man, they create enough dust to block out the sun. Well, how much more with the nuclear missiles, man? Is it going to block out the sky? All right. The sun and the stars not giving their light. It says, all the bright lights of heaven will I make dark over thee, and set darkness upon thy land, saith the Lord Yahweh power. I will also vex the hearts of many people when I shall bring thy destruction among the nations, and to the countries which thou hast not known. Yea, I will make many people amazed at thee, and their kings shall be horribly afraid for thee, when I shall brandish. Now, when you look up that word brandish in a blue letter, it says to hover. All right. It says, when I shall brandish my sword before them, and they shall tremble at every moment, every man for his own life in the day of thy fall. All right. So it's talking about the nuclear missiles being shot off in the air, man. Okay. Making everybody tremble, everyone afraid, man. The Lord is opening up his armory, man, bringing out the weapons of his indignation. All right. But it says back in Isaiah the 34th chapter, verse 5, it says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. All right. And like we read it in the NLT, man. All right, this is the or Salakia, it's further down. It says, but it said what? That it's going to come down upon Idumea, which is the Greek word of saying Edom. All right. And this is Edom's chief city. All right. This is modern day Basra. This is his chief city. So it's talking about coming down here upon America, Babylon the Great. It says, the sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and kidneys, the blood of lambs and goats with the fat of the kidneys of rams, for the Lord Yahweh hath a sacrifice in Basra and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Right. So this is like a huge altar. All right, where you throw all right those sacrificial animals on top of it, man. Well, the people here are the sacrifice. All right. Their blood is required. Their blood is going to be shed. Okay. For the appeasing of the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It says, it says, verse 7. Right, I'm gonna finish verse 6, the bottom of that. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Basra and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, and the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. And like I mentioned before, and we read it in the other translation, this is the payback to Edom. All right, this is the beginning of payback for Edom. Okay. Of course, we're seeing the curses being translated upon them, pursuant to Deuteronomy 30 and 2, or it might be 30 and 7. It talks about how the curses that came upon us will be upon our enemies, man. Right. So we're seeing that on a scale, right? But really, the recompense, is well, it's starting off with these plagues as well. All right. But that major hit, where ain't no turning back, is that nuclear destruction, man. That's it. Okay. That is the end. That nuclear destruction comes in. Yahweh Shai returns. That is the end of Esau, Edom, ever ruling, having any authority to any capacity. All right. As it is written, man, let not their sons, Isaiah 14 and 21, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquities of his fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the earth with cities. So you can't have any rulership. You've completely lost that privilege to rule over anything with your management over the planet Earth and the wickedness that you perpetuated, man. All right, you've only made yourself worthy of the nuclear of to be eradicated off of the earth after you've finished serving out your payment, man. All right, the Lord ain't even letting you off that easy to just be eradicated immediately. Nah, you got to pay that sentence first, and then you gotta pay the death penalty, man. All right, thus saith the Bible. Going back to that in the book of Obadiah. All right, the house of Joseph shall be a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. Roughly paraphrasing it, man. So you're gonna be gathered up. All right, gathered up together, and there's gonna be one day where y'all all gonna be put down. There won't be an Edomite left on the earth. Thus saith the Bible. All right, but it says, verse 9, and the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. All right, that's all. That's all we'll grab on that. All right. So let's hit this in the book of Baruch 4 and 30. And then we're gonna finish off with like two more precepts, and that'll be it, Lord's will. All right, this is the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 30. It says, take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave thee that name will comfort thee. And a part of that comfort is knowing that what? That the Lord is coming with the payback. All right. That the Lord is coming with the judgment. It says, verse 31, miserable are they that afflicted thee, and miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoiced at thy fall. Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons. And who were we received by? All right. Chiefly, okay, because we were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, so we were scattered to all these other nations. But who is this specifically speaking to, man? This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47. And I'll start at the top. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So there it goes again. The Lord speaking about this awaited vengeance, all right, that's in his heart. Okay. It says, verse 4, as for our Redeemer, the Lord Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. Let me see. Yep. It says, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Right. So we were given into the hand of Esau, Edom, ruling over Babylon. That was the chief place and the chief people that we were given to. It says, but how did they treat us? Thou didst show them no mercy. So what is written in the book of James? To him that showed no mercy, to no mercy will be given him. Roughly paraphrasing it, man. That's what it also says. I believe it's in the book of Isaiah in like two places. Okay. It says that there's no peace, saith the Lord, unto the wicked. All right. So they won't have a comfortability, they won't have peace. All right. They're going to be severely judged, man, for that 1,000 years. It says, I was wroth with my people, I polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand, and thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient has thou very heavily laid thy yoke. All right, and that's all we're gonna grab on that, man. Just showing you that who were we delivered to chiefly, man. All right, to Babylon, to these Edomites here in America, right? It says, back in Baruch chapter 4 and verse 32, miserable are the cities which thy children serve, miserable is she that received thy sons. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall thou be grieved for her, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. So the Lord is going to make these people suffer, man, to be plain. The Lord is going to make these people suffer. It says, for fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, right? The nuclear destruction. It says, for fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, long to endure, and she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time. Talking about what? Those different desert creatures, all right? The owls, the cormorant, and so on and so forth, as it is written further down in Isaiah the 34th chapter. All right. But the Lord is coming with that vengeance, man. You know, and that's all I wanted to touch up on through the spirit, man. Edom will be paid back, and it's coming very, very, very soon, man. So having that being said, and the rest of these nations along with him, all right? Having that being said, Lord's what I was edifying. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. The honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing out this word in all sincerity and in truth. With that, I'm going to say shalom.